She spent months working with him to build his trust, so he trusted her, and he allowed her to do things like ask him to lay on the ground with her, and things like that. So you're gonna meet Leia later, and one of the little mini horses that she has also worked with and trained. So.
From the moment we met him, he was charming, he was engaging, he was wanting so badly to know us and to relate with us.
And that's what Quest looked like after he recovered and was back in health. So this is Quest, what he looked like after he, recovered physically and mentally. And today he lives with a family. He was adopted a few years ago by a young family. Yes.
Is it a girl or a boy?
He's a boy. He's a boy horse. He's a pony, so he's a smaller breed of like a horse.
You have a question back here?
Yeah, what other questions do you have about?
Do y'all still, like, the people who adopt the horse, do y'all still talk to them to see if the horse is still good?
That is a very good question. So we stay in touch with our adopters. They send us updates every now and then, and we always want to know that they're being well cared for. And if ever they weren't being cared for well, we would take them back, because we don't want the horse to fall into that kind of neglect again. It's a great question. Thank you. Yeah.
So is he gone?
Quest is now not living here anymore. He's living on a little farm with his new owners, who take care of him and pamper him and feed him and love on him every day.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. Thank you,
Washington
International Horse Show, and Laura Graves for the opportunity to tell Quest's story. A horse whose journey of hope continues at his new home as a dressage prospect and beloved family member. So he was doing riding. He won some ribbons at shows. He went to some horse shows and won some ribbons. So
He's actually teaching kids
To
just
ride
like you
now.
how to ride now.
right, because so he's got little children on his back, and he's doing really well. Yes.
That kind
The one with the bones? Yeah, so that's the skeleton of a horse. That's what's inside. You know how you have bones inside of you? That's what the bones look like inside a horse. It's kind of, So inside that big brown horse, that's what his body looks like when it's just bones. So it's the skeleton, yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So how old is he?
How old is Quest? Quest has got to be like 25 or 30 years old now, which is pretty old for a horse. They don't always live that long. Any other questions about what you do? Yeah.
Do you know if Quest has any babies or nothing?
We don't think he has babies, so, well, he's a boy, but we don't know if he ever produced any babies with a girl.
What's that kind?
This kind of horse is called a paint. So when they have big brown or black areas and then parts of their body that are white, they're known as a pinto or a paint horse. Yeah. It looks like a goat. Well, we'll see some goats today. You can tell me whether you think it looks a lot like a goat.
I thought it was a goat.
We have goats here. You're gonna meet them.
What's that over here?
That there, that's this one here.
I think she's pointing at the picture.
This horse, okay, so this is Zodiac. When Zodiac came here, he was so skinny and weak, he couldn't stand up. He literally crashed to the ground, and we had to have people and equipment to help him stand up. And then we put him in a sling to help him stay standing up. And he had months and months of medical treatment on his legs, which were injured, and he had to have a lot of care, but that's what he looked like when he recovered. He was a very happy horse, and he's been adopted also. Yes. This one over here also. The top one is when,
I'm talking about that.
that one over there? Yeah, so that horse,
That's Remington.
Remington, okay, thank you, can remember his name. So look at him, how beautiful and majestic he is after he recovered.
He was actually taught, that was a trick that he
That was a
learned.
trick that Leia taught him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, of course. So she taught him to stand up on his hind legs, it's called rearing. And again, she worked with him, for many, many months after he had recovered physically from being so starved. And
Yes, he was adopted.
most of our horses, we try to adopt them out.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Have any babies that was here?
Yes, we've had some babies born here.
I don't think we have any here though.
Right now, we
No, our
have some
youngest one's about
youngsters.
6 months old.
We have some youngsters who are about 6 months old, so they're still technically babies, even though they're pretty big for babies, to see them. But we have had some horses born here before.
How long does the average horse live?
So a horse,
What was the question?
how long does the average horse live? Into their 20s is considered a pretty good ripe age. Some of them live longer, into like 30, 35 years old, but that's about the life expectancy.
25 to 30.
Yeah. So if a horse is 20 years old, in horse years, that's old, right? It's like, 20 years old is like, 60 or 70 years old. I shouldn't say that's old, because that's my age, but anyway.
It's also for a pet horse.
For a pet horse, yes. In the wild, they don't live so long because they end up succumbing from injuries and things, yeah. The horse back there on the back wall, who remembers that horse's name,
This
Caroline,
one,
behind?
that's, Jelly Belly.
Jelly Belly?
Jelly Bean.
Jelly Bean, sorry, Jelly Bean. So Jelly,
She was part of 140 horses that we had to take in, that were all, 140 horses were being neglected.
at one farm, that was that many horses.
So we had to take all of those horses in and then help with the court case and the court process. And then that was her after she was done getting rehabilitated.
Has anybody, like, when y'all rescue horses, has anybody got arrested for shooting a horse badly?
Good question, yes.
Brittany helps and works with that. I don't know if you want to give
So
us
we-
more background on that.
We testify in court cases, go ahead, Brittany, yeah.
Yeah, no, we, they come from all over Maryland and other states, so depending on where they come from, they kind of handle it differently. But yes, there have been owners who have been arrested or taken to court, and then we go, and testify in court about what kind of care it took to get them from that to that. And then it's up to the court to decide what they're gonna do from there.
They usually get a fine, they have to pay a penalty usually, or the horse is then taken away from them permanently so that they can never hurt it again. And then we have the horse, and then we can get it adopted out later, because we want these horses to live with a family. Yes?
What's that horse like?